Hi, Karen.
Hi.
You know, I've been doing genealogy for a few years.
Yeah.
And since the pandemic, I've been doing a lot of armchair genealogy.
Okay.
And I found a lot of my ancestors, and I found birth and marriage and death and maybe even burial. But I'd like to know more about these people
Sure.
instead of just the basics. So what kind of people were they? And I've written down some notes. I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all. Glad.
Okay, for example, FamilySearch.org has a lot of scanned material.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they have is search image. And they have a lot of documents from the Scott County Courthouse. But when I get into the deeds, I can't find an index or a table of contents or something, and I don't want to go through the 600 images to find this. Now, I could go to the courthouse if it's open. I don't know if they've opened. But do you have anything down here?
We do, actually. We have, for Scott County, the grantor grantee index, which is listed, so that grantor is the sellor, the grantee is the purchasee, and so you can go through that if you know one name or both names, and it's organized chronologically, so you kind of have to have a general idea of a time frame. But it starts in 1838 and goes up to just a little past 1900.
Okay.
And and then we actually have here the deed records that correspond to those.
So I don't have to flip
so
back
you would
to
not,
Family Search.
Exactly. If you wanted to use the microfilm, it's all on microfilm.
Okay.
And so that can be really helpful for a number of different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see my next note. Oh, yeah. Divorces tend to run in my family. And I know you've got the microfilm, but I can't see an order to these. Do you have any help with that?
You're absolutely right. Those divorce records were filmed in actually 7 different series.
Oh.
They filmed them as they found them, and so they just got finished, and then they said, oh, look, here's some more, here's some more. So you're right, it's very difficult. We actually have one of our volunteers who is indexing that microfilm right now. And so if you've got your names organized, I can look in the items that she's got entered so far into our database, and I can check on that for you.
Okay.
If it doesn't happen to show up in the database, we've got a couple different options depending on the time frame of the divorce. I can look in the complete index for the District Court of Scott County. We have those are big ledgers that are in the closed stacks. I can try to find the case number for you because that's how they're arranged on the microfilm, by case number.
All right. Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, also,
Yes.
the courthouse did digitize some of the divorces, and there's a bit of an overlap, but I could also check those that have been digitized too.
Okay.
And they sent us an index for that. Last best scenario, we can always call the courthouse and try to ask them for the number.
Okay. All right. This is something I don't know that I want to admit, but my great-grandfather was arrested on a charge of attempted manslaughter.
Okay.
From newspaper articles, I found out that he was convicted, but the charges were dismissed on appeal. Now, I went to the courthouse, and there's very nice people there, but the person that I was working with didn't really seem to know which book was going to help me, and anyhow, she couldn't help, and then she ran out of time, and we had to move forward. So.
Sure.
But I'd like to know what happened. Do you have any help?
Well, we do have some criminal case records. We have a set that's on our microfilm.
Okay.
There's no index for those, but again, we could try those district court ledgers that I talked about to get a case number, because that's how those are organized.
Okay.
We also received, this was kind of the jewel from the courthouse, they digitized some very early criminal records. So if the time frame is right, those are very newsy. There's a lot of documentation in those, and they gave us an index to those as well. So if it happens to be early, and I'm talking 1800s here, then that may be the pot of gold.
I attended the opening the box with Catherine Coots about the archive and manuscript collection.
Yes, and we're going to have another episode coming up on April 9th, which in fact might help you with your question about the land records.
Oh, yeah?
Our librarian, Katie, is going to feature resources on land and property, like the grantor-grantee indexes that we talked about. And it's going to be on first premiering on April 9th at 2:30. And then it will be available, of course, to watch later, you know, if you're not available that very day. But it'll be on the YouTube, the Davenport Library YouTube channel after that. But yeah, you should check that out.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll check that out. But I kind of wondered if this could help me find information on my ancestors. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, sure. The items in the archive and manuscript collection are things that have been collected from local businesses, local organizations, things like minutes of their meetings, scrapbooks that they kept of all their activities. Also private collections, personal papers for maybe a family, politician, all kinds of things like that. So if you happen to have a family member that was involved in a local business, we might be able to help.
Well, like my grandfather worked for Hunzinger for many years.
Oh.
And unfortunately, Grandpa was kind of the company photographer from what I could see. And he took pictures of the job sites that they were working on. And I had the negatives. And when I cleaned out my mom's house a couple of years ago, I didn't know what to do with them. So I wound up throwing them out.
Oh, man.
And it sounds like that's the kind of stuff that maybe you would have wanted.
We sure would have been interested in looking at it. In fact, I know that we have in our collection some photographs of Hunzinger projects.
Really?
I wonder if that would correspond with the right time frame when your grandfather was there.
Probably, because he was there until John Hunzinger died in 1947.
Well, we have this new tool available on our website called Archive Space, and you can search by keywords, so you could put in the name Hunzinger. You can search by personal name, whatever Grandpa's name might have been.
Okay.
You can search in a location or a general subject term, and it'll pull up things that have to do with collections that we have in the archive and manuscript collection that have to do with what you're interested in. So we'll give that a go after a bit. We'll see what, I know there's at least one, there's probably more.
Okay, all right. My favorite thing about coming down to special collections is you and the other librarians.
Oh, that's kind
Because you guys have always helped me so much. I still remember one day I came down here. I was looking for something, and you happened to be at the desk, although I'm sure any of the librarians could have helped, but you happened to be at the desk. I told you what I wanted. You never looked at the computer. You never looked at anything. You got up from the desk, walked over to the exact shelf, pulled the 2 volumes I needed, and handed them to me. I was so impressed. I still am. This happened well over a year ago, probably 2 years ago. And I was so impressed, and I still am, and you guys are so helpful.
Oh, well, thank you. Our whole staff tries, and our everybody in this department tries so hard to assist with as many things as we can, because we know that we're here every day and you're not, so we're pretty familiar with things, and not everything can get listed in the catalog or the archive space type access tools, so we want to help our patrons as much as we can. And we know it's been really difficult during this pandemic when people couldn't access our resources in person. So that's why we're pretty excited to think that we're going to be able to open up again here shortly for appointments. That we're really looking
That'd be
forward to
great.
that.
Yeah, well, I really do. I want to thank you for everything. And I don't expect you to do the research for me, but pointing out where I should go, what I can use, that type of stuff, that's helpful. I mean, I've gotten a lot of answers down here, and I want you to know I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we have access to so many how-to books, so many family histories that people have donated to us that pertain to local families.
Okay.
And gosh, we've got serials from all the major genealogical societies that we keep up with. And of course, we have our subscription databases, which are available at all 3 of our libraries, not just here. You can go to Eastern or Fairmount and use any of the public computers, and the genealogical databases are available there too.
So, Ancestry,
Yes. In fact,
newspaper archives.
Ancestry Library Edition is what we have available to our patrons. And we just found out last week that you can access that at home through our Davenport Library website until June.
Wow.
So you can use it for free, and you just go to our catalog record and click on the link, and it'll take you right into Ancestry Library, and you have access to the same things that you would have at any of our buildings. So you can do that from home, at least through June. They've been really kind to extend that several different times.
Yeah, I've used that, and I'm an Ancestry subscriber, but I'm cheap, so I only subscribe to the U.S., and I have used your Ancestry at Home library, Ancestry Library Edition at Home, and I've used that because it gives me the international,
Okay, good.
and I've found a lot of records that way.
Excellent.
So even though I'm a subscriber personally, I am also a subscriber through the library. And
Yeah.
I like that. That free is great for me.
Yeah, just got to have your library card. That's it. So, anything else that we can help, or shall we get going?
I think that's it. And I think we can we tromp on over and look at those deed?
Sure. You want to start there?
Sure.
Sounds
That would
good.
be great.
All right.
Thank you.
You bet.
So much.